When we speak about life, many believe it begins the moment the body is formed. But in the teachings passed down to us, we are reminded that the body is only the vessel. The soul, the essence, has its own journey. And this journey began long before we entered this world. In silence, in stillness, the soul chooses where it must be planted. Not for pleasure. Not for luxury. But for purpose. Some are born into peace. Some are born into chaos. But peace does not always awaken strength. And chaos does not always destroy it. Often, it is quite the opposite. When a soul chooses to enter a family with hardship, confusion, or toxicity, it is not a mistake. It is an opportunity. For transformation. For realization. For deepening the understanding of what it truly means to be awake in a world that is often sleeping. To be born into difficulty is not a punishment. It is a training ground. The soul knows that comfort really teaches resilience. That love, when absent, makes us long for what is real. That misunderstanding can become the very fuel for clarity. So if you find yourself wondering, why me, the better question might be, what is this trying to teach me? In the monastery, we are not trained by soft words. We are trained by discipline, by repetition, by facing discomfort until it becomes familiar. In the same way, a toxic environment can be a mirror. It reflects not only what is wrong around you, but what must be strengthened within you. Your patience. Your awareness. Your ability to remain still while others lose their center. There is a saying, the strongest swords are forged in the hottest fires. The soul that walks through a toxic childhood learns to feel every cut, every burn. But it also learns to shape itself. Not to become bitter, but to become clear. Not to destroy others, but to no longer be destroyed by them. A difficult beginning is not the end. It is the beginning of inner mastery. Each conflict is a lesson. Each painful word is a test of your self-worth. Each moment of neglect is a call for you to begin nurturing the part of you that others refuse to see. This is not weakness. This is awakening. So, do not curse the soil you are born into. It is teaching you something the world may never fully understand. The strength to remain rooted while everything around you shifts. The courage to love yourself in a place where love was withheld. The wisdom to step out of the darkness without letting it live inside you. And most importantly, the reminder, your soul is not here by accident. It is here with purpose. Born not to be broken, but to remember its unbreakable nature. Growth does not begin in paradise. Growth begins where resistance lives. The seed must break to become the sprout. The muscle must tear to become stronger. And the spirit, it must sometimes be surrounded by disharmony in order to truly recognize its own sacred sound. In this way, toxicity in the family is not an ending, but the beginning of inner cultivation. Many people believe that toxic environments only create damage. And it is true, they can. But what is often unseen is that the same pressure that can crush a weak foundation can also strengthen one that is willing to adapt. If you are not given love, you learn the importance of love. If you are surrounded by lies, you begin to value truth. If you are constantly criticized, you discover the need for inner silence. The Shaolin path is not about comfort. It is about clarity. And clarity is earned through contrast. The more toxic your environment, the more clearly you can feel what peace is. You begin to know, not from books or philosophy, but from experience. This is not intellectual knowledge. It is wisdom bound into the body, into the nervous system, into the breath. Toxicity wakes you up. Like cold water thrown over the body, it shocks you. It interrupts the illusion that life is fair, or that peace will be handed to you. It teaches you to create peace within, because no one else will give it to you. This, in truth, is the beginning of self-realization. That your environment does not control your soul, unless you allow it to. Even in the monastery, there are tests. Not all come from nature. Some come from each other. A harsh word. A misunderstanding. A moment of unfairness. But these are not punishments. They are invitations to respond with awareness instead of reaction. This is the same way you can look at your family. Not as the cause of your pain, but as the training ground for your awakening. Do not misunderstand, this is not to excuse bad behavior. This is to take back your power from it. To see that even though your roots were planted in pain, they do not need to grow poison fruit. You are the gardener now. You choose what to cultivate, what to water, what to let go. When we view toxicity only as trauma, we become victims. But when we view it as a catalyst, we become alchemists. The soul transforms darkness into light not by avoiding pain, but by embracing it with awareness. This is the inner path. The warrior's path. The way of one who chooses not to repeat the pattern, but to dissolve it. So if you come from a toxic family, do not despair. That very fire can burn away the illusion and reveal something rare inside you, the strength to rise, not in spite of where you came from, but because of it. In today's world, we are surrounded by images. Photographs of smiling parents, harmonious gatherings, joyful celebrations. And slowly, this picture begins to settle in the mind, the quiet belief that there is such a thing as a perfect family. That somewhere, others are living in complete peace, with no pain, no conflict, no scars. But this belief is an illusion. There is no perfect family. Every household is a training ground. Every soul carries burdens. What differs is whether those burdens are faced or hidden. Some families hide their wounds behind silence. Others bury them in tradition. And some, like yours, may express them in loud voices, angry gestures, or deep emotional neglect. But in each case, there is something unspoken that must be seen. The search for a perfect family is a distraction. What is more useful is to ask, what have I been given to work with? Not to compare. Not to envy. But to understand. You are not born into the wrong family. You are born into the exact conditions that could help your soul awaken if you choose to use them. The illusion of perfection makes you feel something is missing. The truth of reality shows you nothing is missing. Only clarity is needed. In the monastery, we are told the mind is easily deceived. The eyes can be fooled. But the breath and the body do not lie. When you sit in silence and observe the pain that your family has caused you, you do not need to compare it with others. You only need to feel it, accept it, and begin the work of transforming it. Not outwardly, but inwardly. If your family lacked love, let this reveal the importance of loving yourself. If your family avoided truth, let that show you the necessity of honesty in your own life. If they manipulated, criticized, or betrayed, see this not as a curse, but as the sharp blade that carved the path you now walk. You are not weaker because of it. You are more awake. When people chase the image of a perfect family, they often run from their real family. They bury their past. They wear masks. But the teachings are clear, whatever is denied will return. Whatever is ignored will shape your shadow. True strength is not found in escaping the family you had. It is found in understanding it deeply, truthfully, and then rising above it without hatred. If the world were perfect, there would be no need for awakening. But because it is imperfect, there is space to grow, to evolve, to observe your own reactions and begin to dissolve them. To walk a path of stillness even when your roots are filled with noise. So do not waste time chasing a dream of perfection. Use the reality you are given as your practice. Your difficult childhood is not your fault. But your healing, your awakening, that is your responsibility. The illusion ends when you stop running and begin sitting, calm, grounded, like the mountain, facing what is not what you wish it to be. Pain is the first teacher. Before words, before language, even before reason, pain speaks. It speaks through the body, through the heart, and through the moments that make us pause and ask, why does it hurt so much? But the wise do not run from this question. They sit with it. They breathe through it. Because pain, when observed without resistance, reveals truth. In families filled with toxicity, pain becomes a daily presence. It can come in the form of silence, where love should have been spoken. It can come through criticism where support should have lived. Or it can come through chaos, confusion, or betrayal. And naturally, the first response is to reject it. To shield the heart. To close the body. But in the teachings, we learn pain is not always your enemy. Sometimes it is your invitation. The question is not, why did this happen to me? The deeper question is, what is this trying to teach me about myself? Pain exposes where we are still holding on. Where we are not yet free. Where our self-worth still depends on the opinions of others. In this way, your family becomes the mirror. And pain becomes the message reflected back. In Shaolin practice, the body is placed under intense stress. Long hours of stance training. Repetition until the muscles tremble. But it is never to punish. It is to reveal where the weakness hides it so it can be transformed into strength. Emotional pain works the same way. It shows you the tender spots, the open wounds, the places that need attention. If you numb it, you miss the lesson. If you face it, you grow. When you stop seeing pain as punishment, you stop fighting your past. You begin to see that your parents' words, their failures, their neglect, it was not about you. It was about their own unhealed wounds. Their own karma. Their own spiritual blindness. This does not excuse it. But it explains it. And from that understanding, freedom begins. Pain softens us. If it does not harden us fast. You have the choice. To become cold, closed, angry. Or to become compassionate, awake, precise. This is the path of the warrior, not to avoid suffering, but to use it as a doorway to deeper awareness. You look into your own wounds, not to blame others, but to bring light where darkness once lived. In silence, pain teaches patience. In chaos, pain teaches grounding. In rejection, pain teaches self-respect. And in all of it, pain teaches impermanence. That everything, even suffering, passes when observed without attachment. You are not your pain. You are the one witnessing it. And the more clearly you witness it, the more it begins to dissolve. So, let pain teach you. Sit with it. Breathe into it. Feel it in the body, not to hold it, but to release it. When you bow to pain, not in defeat, but in reverence, you unlock the doorway to wisdom. And that wisdom is what turns a toxic past into a sacred path. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many believe it means indifference. That to detach is to stop caring, to become cold or numb. But this is not the teaching. Detachment is not rejection. It is understanding. It is the recognition that holding on to something which causes suffering is not strength, it is imprisonment. In a toxic family, there are many things we try to hold on to. Approval. Belonging. An apology. A version of love that may never come. But the longer we hold on, the more we suffer. Not because our desire is wrong, but because our desire is tied to someone else's inability to give what they do not possess. Detachment is when you begin to release that expectation. In Shaolin practice, we often speak of letting go, not because we give up, but because we become free. The mind that clings is always in pain. The mind that observes is already at peace. So when the people closest to you cannot love you in a healthy way, you do not need to fight. You step back, not with hatred, but with clarity. You detach to protect your energy, your awareness, your path. Detachment does not mean you forget. It means you stop reliving. It means you stop reopening the wound with every memory, every thought, every word spoken long ago. You cannot change the past. But you can stop feeding it with your presence. You can bring your presence back to now, where freedom is always waiting. Many people confuse detachment with running away. But running is an escape from pain. Detachment is standing still within pain, seeing it clearly, and saying, I no longer need to carry this. The warrior does not run from the fire. He walks through it, calm, aware, unmoved by the illusion that this fire can destroy what is true. In the monastery, we train to become aware of everything, and attached to nothing. This is not coldness. It is peace. Because when you are free from needing others to behave a certain way, you become whole. You stop waiting for someone to validate you, love you, or understand you. You become your own foundation. From this space of detachment, forgiveness can begin. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You no longer carry the weight of what they could not give. You allow yourself to rise, not above them, but above the patterns they lived through. You detach to live, not just to survive. So if you were born into a family that never saw you, or hurt you repeatedly, detachment is not abandonment. It is alignment. Alignment with the truth that you are not their pain. You are not their story. You are not here to repeat their suffering. You are here to transcend it with compassion and with the strength of presence. The journey from a toxic family to a strong soul is not easy. It is not a path chosen by convenience or comfort. It is a path of courage, a courage to look deeply into the places others have left broken and to see they are not just pain, but possibility. The soul that is born into hardship is not a soul that is lost. It is a soul that is destined to awaken. You have been given a task not to become bitter or broken, but to become whole. To take the wounds that once tried to define you and transform them into wisdom. To take the silence, the neglect, the anger, and turn them into your inner voice of strength. This is not magic. It is discipline. It is practice. It is choosing every day to rise, to breathe, to stand firmly in who you are. Remember, the chains of the past only hold you if you allow them. Your family's toxicity may have been the fire that tested you, but it did not define you. What defines you is what you do after the fire. Do you let it consume you? Or do you become the light that breaks the chain? Your soul chose this path because it knew you could walk it. Because within you lies an unshakable spirit. A spirit that, like the ancient trees rooted in rocky ground, bends but does not break. A spirit that knows peace, even in the storm. A spirit that loves itself, even when love was not given. To those who listen and carry this pain, know that your strength is real. Your growth is real. And your healing is real. You are not alone. Your story is sacred. And your life is a testament to the power of the human spirit to overcome, to awaken, and to shine. Walk this path with patience. With compassion, for yourself, and for those who could not love you fully. Let go of the past without hatred. Step forward with presence. And remember, the strongest souls are not born from ease, they are born from fire. And that fire has made you who you are. This is your blessing. This is your awakening.